hindi kasama sa plano yung pagbaba ng presyo ng bigas by 2028?
Reduction that is included, but not the 20 pesos, Mr. Chair.
Ano yung target natin na price by 2028? Boss, Mr. Chair, pwede nyo namang sabihin kung hindi kasama, pati kasama para matapos ang usapan. Mas mahirap yung magbobolahan tayo rito.
Well, as a campaign promise of the President,
Mr. Chair, madali lang namang sagutin na yung problema, umiiwas sa sagot.
use interject, no? Do you believe there's a rice cartel?
Mr. Chair, the rice industry is very big in the country. It's a big industry.
No, don't answer me that. I'm asking if you believe there's a rice cartel.
I don't believe, Mr. Chair, there's a
The
rice.
Philippine Competition Commission believe there's a rice cartel.
Anyway, Mr. Chair,
In the city of Manila, we believe there's a rice cartel. This is my first time. This is my first time that you answered there is no rice cartel.
can I answer your
I'm not
earlier question?
angry. I'm just dynamic.
Yes.
I've noticed that many of you are simply watching my videos without subscribing. I kindly request you to consider subscribing to my channel, as your support motivates me to keep creating more content.
Early on, we recommended to the President that we have to diversify our source of supply in the world market. We cannot be too dependent on Vietnam and Thailand. And it's important that we open trade with India, and we have to make an announcement. No? So,
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if I may, just for simplification, the question was, earlier, sir, you mentioned you have no intention of importing. You have no plans of importing, or you will not recommend rice importation. The question of the chair is that if you have no plans of importing, why are you visiting other countries? Because this will tantamount to waste of government resources.
okay. Mr. Chair, when our President announced that we are going to buy from India, and India imposed a ban on the export, but they opened the window for a G2G transaction. Now, the G2G transaction...
So you will still import? No, is that your recommendation? Because you are flip-flopping from saying that you are not importing and then...
No, Mr. Chair, I was asked to go to India to find out, as a fact-finding, what are the terms of reference of the G2G, no? So it can mean many things, no? So, and what is the process?
Please submit the report on your findings in India and
Yes,
justification
Mr. Chair.
for your travel to India.
Yes.
Because actually these are one of the questions that are recurring with our congressman.
Yes,
Thank you,
Mr. Chair.
More than anything, of course, no to importation, but this is just a fact-finding mission is what I understand.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, but just for clarity, because it's a repeated question of all. Earlier, sir, Mr. Chair, the question is, are we going to import? The answer was no. And now you're saying there's a government to government. Ano po ba talaga? Para ma-align yung answers later.
Mr. Chair, if I may, no?
Briefly, please.
The Indian government would allow exemption from the export ban. Initially, it is going to be a G2G, no, government to government negotiation.
Again, Administrator Bico, but you are contradicting your statement that there is none, but you're now having G2G is an importation in itself.
No, Mr. Chair, but the actual transaction is going to be P2P, private to private, no? But before the government
It's still importation. That's the question. Akala ko we have enough buffers. So, submit to this committee your so that we can go and proceed. In this point, may I, of course, Yes, okay na, Boss Mujib. May I recognize our chairperson who has an important announcement, and he has not had the opportunity to have his opening statement.
Good morning to everyone, especially to the DA family. I'm glad you're all here. But wala ko sana tayong problema nito. Remember, Sebastian, we were very concerned as early as March, April, si Speaker mismo, no? We have been meeting at the town house of the Speaker up to 2 a.m. because we know it's coming, no? We know it's coming that the price would go up to 60 pesos, and we don't want it to happen because this happened the last time during the administration, bumagsak yung rating, no? So we don't want it to happen, but you assured us as up to May, sinabi mo, imposible mangyayari yan because we know that's the trend. The trend is coming that during that time, ang price lang is around 31 pesos or around $395 per metric ton. But you said you're an expert, you've been working in Vietnam for 7 years. How come now, and sasabihin ng economista, it's beyond our control, I monitor it, bakit ganyan pinaabot natin, ayaw nga natin, and during that time, we have the opportunity to buy at $400 or $395 metric ton. Many have been warning us, Congressman Alvarez, the NFA also been warning us, but how come hindi mo na, sabi ko sigurado ka, Yusek, if that's the time, we can sleep already because we've been wasting our time. We've been meeting with ASEC Arnel up to 1 a.m. Kahit galing kami sa Cebu, then babalik lang para makipag-meeting. Si Secretary Panganiban is already sleeping during that time. But how come ganun ang hindi ko maintindihan talaga. And the President said there should be filed economic sabotage. Hindi ba dapat kasama yung mga officials na nagko-contribute sa ekonomiya ng pagsabotahe? Anong masasabi niyo doon, Yusek?
Mr. Chair, when we were looking at the scenario at that time, Mr. Chair, we did not see the Indian ban. So we did not expect that, Mr. Chair. And besides, if you know, Mr. Chair, the importation of rice in the Philippines is liberalized. It is already, it is controlled by the private sector. So since that time when we discussed, Mr. Chair, there was actually, since April, Mr. Chair, there was actually 1.2 million metric tons that arrived, more than what we were proposing for supposedly government importation of 300,000 metric tons. And if we have done what was being contemplated at that time, that the government will import, you can just imagine how that would affect the private sector importation, Mr. Chair. So during that time, in April, if you look at the data of the Bureau of Customs, Mr. Chair, almost 1 million metric tons arrived because they were actually taking advantage of the lower price during that period. But it's the private sector, it's not the government. So I don't know, Mr. Chair, what could we have done during that time for government to do the importation when under RTL, the government cannot do importation unless it declares a state of emergency. And that would have rattled the market early on. So you have to weigh all these things, Mr. Chair. You do those things in early April, I don't know what would be the effect. But at that time, Mr. Chair, we were very confident that this could not happen because the market, the liberalization, the rice trade liberalization could have ensured, and up to now, Mr. Chair, it is ensuring that we have enough supply. It's just that the price of rice abroad now, Mr. Chair, is high. It's high, and the traders, the importers, are not biting into that high price. They're also watching for the price to go down. And it's going down a little bit now, Mr. Chair. So there's no rice shortage, Mr. Chair. It's just that the price are up locally and also internationally, Mr. Chair.
Hindi, si demand and supply yan eh. If we have enough supply, then the price will not go up if we even though the world market is very high. Kaya mas mura pa yung local supply natin because
At this time,
at this time, di ba? Pero nag-ahabol sila. So, there must be a mechanism. Hindi naman pwedeng pabayaan lang natin mag-fly yung presyo. And una-una, pinangako nga ng ating Pangulo na mababa ang presyo, di ba? 20 pesos. So, kung we will not, like, PITC, pwede naman din yung DSWD. We can buy low, then i-reserve mo yan para hindi tumaas, para naman yung mga hindi maapektuhan. You have to make some recommendation for that. Kasi hindi pwede next year, ganun na naman. Yung onions natin, this year, ganun na naman. Nag-180 na naman tayo. 30 pesos lang ang world market. Bakit natin di ba pinag-uusapan na natin na plus the mga binibigay natin na binhi, fertilizer, everything, dapat i-contract natin yan sa mga farmers para mabili natin ng mura. And we have, sabi mo, mahirap, that's a change. But since we're giving them supply, we have to implement, para mabili natin ng mura, ma-buffer natin yan sa, and we can demand that sa farmers na mabili natin ng, since libre lahat, libre mo yung bini, libre mo. Kung hindi lang naman natin madidemand yung murang presyo, then i-subsidize na natin yung pambili sa import para mabenta natin ng mura yung ginagawa natin sa kadiwa, di ba? So, ibig sabihin ko, we have to create a measure. Kasi kung papabayaan natin to, tatapusin ba natin na taon-taon na lang, paulit-ulit to? Di ba? Mapapaya ang ating Pangulo niyan. And kaya naman, DA pa naman ng So, ayusin nyo naman kasi nakakailang meetings tayo, ganun pa rin eh. So, we have been, na dapat mabili, alam natin by February, March, murang bigas. So, kung ano yung kailangan natin, shortage, I don't think na walang shortage eh. Kasi kung, may manipis na supply, di ba? So, we know every year, 2 to 3 million metric na ng importation na pumapasok, di ba? So, we have to secure those volumes na mababa ang presyo. And pwede yan, kausap ng yung speaker sa Vietnam, o sa Thailand, we can negotiate for sinasabing G2G. Kung kailangan ng batas na panibago to, kasi sinasabi niyo walang support, but ano yun ba naman natin yung presyong mataas kaysa naman dapat nagbibili natin ng mababa? So, we have to help also yung majority, which is the masses, na kaysa naman nabebenta natin ng na wala tayong pakialam. We have to be concerned kasi campaign promise natin yun, di ba?
So, as part of your development plan, we are requiring you to submit especially contingency measures. Kunyari, may magsarado na naman ng ibang countries like India, you have to put that in your plan of action, USEC Ding, and of course all the USECs, and especially not only for rice, as mentioned by our chair, but for all other commodities as well. So please submit to this committee as soon as possible. Okay, we go back to our regular listing. Thank you, Chairman Zaldico. From the majority, Representative Roa Fortes is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you. Good morning to the committee chair, Saldico. Good morning to the DA family. I think a lot is left unanswered on the rice sector, but allow me to go to the fishery sector. Hindi lang rice ang agrikultura. Just for enlightenment, how many agencies within the DA is involved in the fishery sector? I have here in front of me, of course, is the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, aside from Director Escoto. Is there other agencies involved in the fishery sector?
There are agencies. We have the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, PFDA, NFRDI.
We have BFAR, we have PFDA, what else?
NFRDI.
I'm sorry.
NFRDI, National Fisheries Research.
What does it stand for?
National, ikaw nga.
National Fisheries Research Development.
National
Institute.
Fisheries Research
Development Institute po.
Development Institute. Okay. Any other?
Yun lang.
Wala na. Okay. I looked at the budget. Hindi ko alam tong Research Institute. But anyway, BFAR has about 7.8 billion proposed budget, and PFDA has about 4.9 billion project. That's against 167.5 billion total budget. The two consist of about 7.65% of the DA budget. My question is, what is the percentage of contribution of the fisheries sector to the food security program of the DA? Ilang porsyento ba ang fisheries sector sa food security program? Just a ballpark figure.
Director Escoto, can you answer that?
Mr. Chair, currently the fisheries contribution to economy is at 12.8% gross value added at current prices and 1.22% of gross domestic product at current prices.
1 point for GDP?
1.22%.
That's for GDP already. We're talking of GDP here. Not only within the department's program on food security.
It's in the lahat ba? Or dito sa agroforestry and fisheries? Agroforestry. Yung 1.22? 1.22? Yeah. It's clustered in the agro fisheries and forestry sector. The GDP is 1.22%. Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. I'll go to the BFAR later on. I have concerns with the PFDA. I have here a letter of PFDA to Secretary of the DBM regarding their excluded budget of about 3.3 billion, and I would like to seek a stronger representation from the Office of the Secretary to the DBM that the excluded budget of 3.3 be re-included in the GAA. This might sound a parochial concern, but if you consider these 22 sites wherein these projects are located excluded, to mention a few, Northern Samar, Pampanga, Sorsogon, Cagayan, Aklan, Davao del Sur, Misamis, 22. Ang dami nito. This is not merely a parochial concern. And the amount is only 1.3 billion. These are expansion of municipal ports, ice plants, cold storage. Baka naman po with your proper representation by the Office of the Secretary, makausap natin ang DBM that this be included, more particularly in my district in Sorsogon, where we have a PFDA port serving tons, toneladang tamban every day, by which fisher folks' lives are dependent. With the expansion of the port, it would really assist them because currently, hindi po kasya ang mga pilang bangka. By the time na makapag-unload sila with their tamban, mahinang quality na po and it gets a lower price. So, I don't know the policy direction. I have seen the contribution of the fishery sector. It's given only about 7.6% of the total budget. Baka po ma-consider natin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You have the floor for the firing squad.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Diretso na lang ako, Mr. Chair. Balik ako sa kwento ng bigas. Matanong ko lang ho sa DA kung meron tayong self-sufficiency development plan para sa rice program.
Secretary Panganiban.
Can I refer that to Secretary?
Secretary Sebastian. Yusek pala.
We have, Mr. Chair, the objective is to at least aim for 95 to 97% sufficiency level by 2028, Mr. Chair.
Sa 2020, 97,
95 to 97, Mr. Chair. Because you see, Mr. Chair, once we reach the 95% level, we cannot control also the exact level. And as I've always said, if we want higher sufficiency level, we have to be ready also. Because 100% sufficiency level could also have a negative impact on our farmers. Pwedeng bumagsak kasi ang presyo domestically, yung palay natin. At magiging disincentive yan sa ating farmers. So that's why in the rice program, our objective is to maintain yung productivity in such a way that the income of the farmer will help them continue to improve their productivity to attain higher sufficiency level.
ang ibig sabihin no niyan, yung remaining percentage nun i-import nyo?
Yung remaining part, once we reach the higher sufficiency level, we have to be ready to export also, Mr. Chair, as we import other types of rice. Kasi even exporting countries, Mr. Chair, they also import, but it will be a business decision, Mr. Chair, once you have that higher sufficiency level. Some of our growers may want to go to export for high quality rice, wherein we may want to buy the cheaper type of rice also from other countries. So magaganon yan, Mr. Chair. We have to look at it at the business side, not just a sufficiency level, Mr. Chair.
Does this mean, Mr. Chair, pagdating ng self-sufficiency level natin, maabot na rin natin yung 20 pesos na campaign promise ng ating Pangulo?
Mr. Chair, that is a market, that will be market based. It depends on the market, how it will play. If we are able, for example, Mr. Chair, to improve our value chain and reduce the costing, like if the post-harvest costs, instead of the computation that we are now using for every kilo of palay, the wholesale is supposed to be ×2. If we can reduce that to 1.5, and then we can also reduce the cost of production, Mr. Chair, not 20, but at least we can maintain a lower price that is affordable. I think our objective should be affordability for our population, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, very relative kasi yung affordable eh.
Siguro yung 20, Mr. Chair, medyo mahirap, Mr. Chair.
Ang target price, ang pino-point out ko lang, Mr. Chair, siyempre pag nagpaplano ang DA dapat, kinoconsider ang presyo. Sabihin yung self-sufficient, pero 70 pesos naman or 100 pesos ang presyo. Di ba dapat kasama yon sa self-sufficiency? Kasi hindi lang simpleng available yung binibili, pero dapat affordable yung binibili ng ating, lalo't-lalo na ho, na ang sekretary ng DA, ang ating mismo, ang Pangulo, and at the same time, campaign promise ho ito ng Pangulo. Kaya ang next na tanong ko sana, nakasama ba sa roadmap natin o sa plano yung 20 pesos? Kung hindi 2028, kailan ang projection? Ang mahalaga, nasa plano ng Department of Agriculture.
As the President has also rightly expressed, Mr. Chair, we would like to make sure that our farmers will benefit from any agricultural development that we will have. That means we have to ensure that they have a good income, Mr. Chair. So that is also our main objective.
Mr. Chair, he doesn't reply to my question. Ang tanong ko ho, kung kasama sa plano. Kung hindi kasama sa plano, ba't hindi natin sabihin ngayon na hindi kasama sa plano?
So, Yusek Sebastian, again, the question is the 20 pesos viable as a campaign promise of the President?
Sir, madali lang namang sagutin na yung problema, umiiwas sa sagot.
Using the program that you have
As
now.
the President has also said, that is our aspiration, Mr. Chair.
Ang aspiration, ang tanong ko kung kasama sa plano. Aspiration, kahit kami mag-aspire ako ng 15 pesos kung gusto ko. Pero ang tanong ko, dahil campaign promise ito, nakasama doon sa roadmap, nakasama ito sa plano natin na dapat self-sufficient tayo by 2028. Ito ang
That is our goalpost when it comes to reducing the cost, Mr. Chair.
hindi kaya o hindi.
I cannot answer that, Mr. Chair. Whether
Kung hindi, I mean, kung hindi 2028, kailan? At least nakasama sa plano. Kasi obvious naman hindi kasama sa plano. Ang point ko lang, wag tayong magbulahan dito, Mr. Chair. Kung wala, di wala.
I think the statement of Congressman Hataman is right, because the one who advised the president are the officials, and if you promised him 20 pesos per kilo, maybe you're misleading the president.
We never promised.
That's why, is your plan to make rice of self-sufficiency, I'm just referring to questions, this plan of yours, and then we're funding it, will this mitigate at least at what percentage or price can we go? Is it 25, 30 pesos when we are self-sufficient?
Mr. Chair, to be honest, we never discuss about those things that you're asking, Mr. Chair, with the President.
Yes, but when the President tells you with the public this, you are required to create a plan to make sure that at least the price of rice should go down, as already been explained by our chairperson. And the Speaker has already identified a couple of sources, even going himself to other countries like Vietnam to secure our buffer stock, you know, all of this. So please include this in your plan so that you can answer our Congressman Hataman. Congressman Hataman, is it? Congressman Mujib? Congressman Mujib Hataman?
So, walang sagot doon, Mr. Chair. So, Mr. Chair, hindi kasama sa plano yung pagbaba ng presyo ng bigas by 2028.
Reduction, that is included, but not the 20 pesos, Mr. Chair.
Ano yung target natin na price by 2028? Boss, Mr. Chair, pwede nyo namang sabihin kung hindi kasama, pati kasama para matapos ang usapan. Mas mahirap yung magbobolahan tayo rito.
Can I ask our economist, because Mr. Chair,
please recognize.
I cannot know, Mr.
Please.
Sir, considering that, you know, there are so many factors
Ma'am, excuse me ma'am. Hindi mo kailangan gamitan ng economics sa akin. Napakasimple lang po ng tanong ko. Ang tanong ko, dahil nagplano ang DA ng self-sufficiency plan program ng rice, kasama ba yung pagbaba ng presyo? Huwag ng 20, huwag nating
O kasama po yung pagbaba.
Kung kasama yung pagbaba, magkano by 2028?
Yun po yung mahirap na sagutin kasi nga...
So therefore, hindi yung kasama?
Hindi, kasama po yung pagbaba. Opo.
Anong pagbaba?
Actually, dun sa RTA po, yung rice tarification law, if the same environment would have prevailed, we were really hoping to, have stable prices between 27 and 32 sa regular milled rice.
By 2028?
Opo. But actually...
All things being the same. Diba?
All things being the same. Kaya lang, napaka-volatile po kasi ang environment. So, kaya napakahirap pong
alam naman natin, pag nagpaplano, gagamitan natin ng SOTE. Kino-consider natin yung external pati internal factor.
Yes po.
At least maintindihan natin. Ang punto ko lang naman kung kasama sa plano.
Kasama naman po.
Yun lang naman Kung kasama sa plano, between 27 to 30, between 27 to 30, yun yung target natin by 2028.
Opo.
50 pesos lang naman, pwedeng sabihin, hindi namin matarget by 2028, pero kaya namin by 2040.
Tama. Thank you. So, she has answered. Are you satisfied with the answer that is this part and
Yes,
parcel?
Mr. Chair. Pero one last na lang, Mr. Chair. Actually, maraming tanong,
You
Mr.
still
Chair.
have a lot of time.
Sigurado. Ma'am, yung yung ilang metric ton talaga ang kailangan ng mamamayang Pilipino kada taon?
Net NFA or
Per capita?
consumption?
Per capita
Ang
po.
consumption.
Total number.
Total, 37,362.87. National, 37,362.87 metric tons per day.
Per year dapat. Taon ang tinatanong ko.
Taon. Multiply po natin yan. Ang food demand po natin would be 13.2 million metric tons.
So kada taon, ilan ang kayang i-produce ng magsasakang Pilipino?
Ang local production po natin is about, target po natin is about 13, 14 billion metric
Hindi,
tons.
pero by actual, ma'am.
Ang actual po natin ay about 13, 13.2, 13.2.
Ilan ang deficit natin?
Meron po tayong deficit na mga about 1.2 million metric tons.
1.2. So mali si NFA na sabihin wala sa plano nila yung importation. Bakit hindi kasama sa plano ni NFA yung importation?
Sir, ang NFA hindi na po mag-i-import. That's why we have
Hindi, alam ko,
prioritized.
pero wala sa plano nila, hindi nila kinoconsider.
Hindi po
Sino ang
talaga nila.
nagde-determine ngayon ng importation?
Privatize po na kasi yun.
Hindi,
eh.
alam natin, ma'am, yun dahil sa trade liberalization. Pero sino ngayon? Ang regulatory body andyan pa naman sa Department of Agriculture dahil kayo ang nag-i-issue ng IP eh.
Yes po. Ano yun? Open po yung pag-apply ng SPSIC.
Pero ma'am,
Sa
based sa
DPI.
current experience natin ngayon, yung experience, kasi binabanggit nga ni Yusek Sebastian kanina, na wala tayong control na doon sa issue ng importation dahil nga na-liberalize yung importation ng importation. So hindi natin to ma-dictate at hindi, kasi nga nire-raise kanina ni Congressman, ni Chair ng APRO, yung issue, bakit hindi tayo nakapaghanda ng buffer natin nung mura pa ang halaga ng bigas. Pero ba't hindi natin na-project yun?
Yung, alin po ang project natin?
Yung shortage natin.
No, alam po, I think ng private sector ang shortage natin. That's why the importation is, goes on every day. Meron pong SPSIC na talagang pinaprocess ng BPI.
So bakit biglang pumitik yung presyo ng bigas ngayon na out of control?
Marami nga pong mga, hindi lang po naman kasi local condition, kundi even the importation, yung import price po.
Pero ma'am, kung ako si DA, kung meron akong roadmap, dapat kinoconsider ko yon, di ba? Na kasi kaya nga tinatanong ko kanina kung ilan talaga yung metric ton na kailangan nating i-import na dapat na consider yon. So dahil ang nag-i-issue ng IP ay si DA pa rin, di ba dapat kinausap natin yung mga private importer ng bigas para paghandaan yung kinoconsider natin na shortage at pagtaas ng
It's
presyo?
your last question,
I think they are being consulted. I think there's a regular dialogue by the National Rice Program and also the BPI po in terms of yung mga
Ma'am,
ganyang
kausap
bagay.
ko yung mga ilang importer sa Zamboanga City. Never silang kinausap ng Department of Agriculture. Kaya wag nyo akong bolahin. Dahil ako, bago ako humarap sa inyo, nung pumitik ang presyo ng bigas sa aming rehiyon, tinanong ko na yung mga importer. Hindi sila napagsabihan at nabigyan ng babala ng Department of Agriculture. In fact, iniistriktuhan pa sila sa pag-i-import sa issue ng pag-issue ng importation permit ng Department of Agriculture. Kaya naging mahina yung pagtugon nila doon.
Yun pong pag-apply sa SPSIC, wala pong hadlang yon.
Ma'am, yung
They can
sinasabi
do
ko,
that.
ma'am, sinasabi nyo nga ako kasi, parang binobola nyo ako, na sinasabi nyo nga ako sa akin, anong tawag doon? Pagsisinungaling. Nung sabihin mo sa akin yun, na miniting nyo yung mga importer, sabi ko nga, bago ako humarap, dahil tinanong ko bakit nagka-shortage sa Region 9, Zamboanga City, despite meron pang mga smuggling, pero nagkaroon pa rin ng shortage.
Wala daw po kasi silang consultation. Sabi po nyo kasi kino-consult. Yung traders daw nila, hindi kinonsult kung ilan ang dapat import. Who is the responsible for this? Hindi naman sa planning eh. NFA ba yan? O Yusek Sebastian?
with a dialogue with the Philippine rice industry stakeholders movement.
Dito sa Manila, no?
Dito sa Manila. But not, I think that not all the, not only importers. These are also the millers, the farmers. It's a group, Mr. Chair, that we discuss. Sometimes we get updates on
But
production.
anyway, Mr. Chair, kung naubos na oras ko, pwede namang second round.
Second round.
Oo.
Yes. Please submit na lang kung sino yung mga pumunta doon sa...
Chair, one last question lang. Meron lang dito ako nakita dito sa budget briefer document nyo, yung mga allocations kada agency. Una, gusto ko lang hilingin from PFDA yung list of constructed na mga fish port nila sa buong Pilipinas. At least 5 years ago hanggang current, pati proposed ng 2024 nila. Pangalawa, nabasa ko after nung budget deliberation last year sa plenaryo, alam ko ni-launch ng DA na rin yung Farm to Market Road Development Plan. Baka pwede rin tayong humingi nun yung buong document ng FMRDP po.
No? The President mentioned that by 2030, there should be complete food security in our country. I'd like to ask from you, is that possible? Is that reachable? Is that feasible? Considering the statements that you said upon the query of the independent minority at Selagman on the prices of prime commodities which are rising every time. I'd like to find out from you now, is that possible? Is that reachable? Is that feasible?
Well, Mr. Chair, in all probabilities, it is possible. In all probabilities, it is possible. However, there are instances in the past that had happened that we were not able to complete our irrigation system in the country. A lot of our rice land are converted into subdivisions. A lot of our facilities like farm-to-market roads, equipments like harvesters, threshers, and everything is not yet in full bloom. So these problems affected the achievement of food security of the country. And on that basis, we are not in a position to say that we shall be self-sufficient by the end of the Marcos term.
Mr. Chair, we cannot avoid problems, di ba? Oo. Other countries have the same problems. Oo. You might say it's possible, but it's not probable. You see? Now, let me remind, Mr. Chair, our DA family, that the Secretary of the DA is the President himself. And any mistake that you do will affect the President. It will go to the President. Therefore, in all of the agencies in government, Mr. Chair, the DA is the most important agency today in government because we are concerned about food security. In fact, as the chairman of the Committee on Human Rights, one of the rights we have is the right to food sufficiency. I already filed a bill on food sufficiency, Mr. Chair, and that would be the mandate of the Department of Agriculture. Now, for the next question, ito po ang gusto kong itanong, no? Yung mga nag-aalaga ng baboy, ng manok, ng gulay, kapag nagbebenta sila ng kanilang produkto, sila ang nasusunod kung magkano nila ibebenta ang kanilang produkto. Pero bakit sa palay? Yung mga magsasaka ay hindi nasusunod sa presyo. Bakit yung magsasaka pa ang nagtatanong sa mga palay traders, magkano nyo bibilhin ang palay ko? Bakit po naging ganito ang sitwasyon, Mr. Chair?
Yusek Panganiban.
Well, that's the message, Mr. Chair, that we are correcting. We are now,
Pakilakas po, hindi ko marinig.
that's the problem that we are correcting, Mr. Chair, because the farmers are the ones selling to the buyer, and the buyer maintains the price that they will buy from the farmer. We would like to see a situation that the farmer themselves will be the one to sell at their price, not for them to be told on what the price will be. And on this basis, we are trying to have a campaign among our technicians in the field level to state that message to the farmer. But at this point, the farmers are still subject to the wishes, to the caprice and wishes of the buyer, and we cannot immediately change that system, Mr. Chair.
Well, Mr. Chair, one of the big problems we have since time immemorial, why it is the traders that dictate the prices, is the rice cartel. We still have the rice cartel today. What is the DA doing about it?
Yusek Panganiban, do you want to pass this to Yusek Sebastian?
I think Yusek Sebastian should...
Yusek Sebastian, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We recognize the problem, Mr. Chair. That's why we have...
First, Mr. Chair, let me interject, no? Do you believe there's a rice cartel?
Mr. Chair, the rice industry is very big in the country. It's a big industry.
No, don't answer me that. I'm asking if you believe there's a rice cartel.
I don't believe, Mr. Chair, there's a
The
rice...
Philippine Competition Commission believe there's a rice cartel.
Anyway, Mr. Chair,
In the city of Manila, we believe there's a rice cartel. This is my first time. This is my first time that you answered there is no rice cartel.
can I answer your...
I'm not angry, I'm just dynamic.
Yes.
Tama naman, bishop yan, hindi ko marunong magalit. Go ahead, Yusek Sebastian, please provide
Anyway,
an answer.
Mr. Chair, the way we are now strategizing to address your earlier point, Mr. Chair, is that we are working on...
Recording stopped.
We are working on clustering our rice farmers, Mr. Chair. And we are also looking at the value chain. So, for example, Mr. Chair, the way we are distributing, for example,
Recording in progress.
our seeds and our fertilizers, that we are converging, working with NIA nowadays, Mr. Chair, so that we converge our interventions on those irrigators associations, clusters or farmers cooperative or associations, so that the farmers can also have a choice of what they want, what fertilizer they want to procure, what seed they want to plant, what inputs they want to use. So we are trying to organize them, Mr. Chair, and in doing that, they can have a better bargaining power, Mr. Chair, because individual farmers have no bargaining power, very little bargaining power, Mr. Chair. So we are trying to, the focus of the rice program now is not just on production, we are also helping them on this other side. So we are trying to partner them with other entities that could help them improve their bargaining power, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ang mga magsasaka ay napipilitang ibenta ang kanilang ani na palay sa napakababang halaga. Minsan hanggang 14 pesos o 10 pesos a kilo. Dahil ito ang presyo na ipinipilit ng mga palay traders. Mr. Chair, sabihin ko ulit, ito ang presyo na ipinipilit ng mga palay traders. Kaya siguro kinakailangan, Mr. Chair, maging aware ang DA na mayroong rice cartel. May kumukontrol ng presyo sa mga rice traders. Kaya tayo nahihirapan sa mga farmers natin. O ito, pag hindi nila ibinenta sa presyong tinakda ng mga palay traders, ay hindi ito mabebenta dahil wala namang ibang buyers. Maaaring mabulukan sila ng palay. Samantalang ang presyo ng bigas, Mr. Chair, sa mga palengke ay naglalaro, sinabi nyo, 42 pesos, 41 pesos, hanggang 55 pesos a kilo. Bakit ang layo ng presyo ng bilihan ng palay sa presyo ng bentahan ng bigas sa palengke? Bakit mura ang palay at mahal ang bigas? Mr. Chair.
Bishop Abante, please wrap up. Is that your last question? Because you have 5 minutes already.
I have several more, but if you would allow me to have one question, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, let's answer this first, and then I'll allow you one question. But for those members who wants to have a second round, please tell the Secretariat where we can list you in the second round, especially if you don't have questions that have been answered. Go ahead, Yusek Sebastian, please answer on why the prices are different from rice to palay.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, because if you notice, Mr. Chair, our farmers often plant varieties that are not necessarily what is demanded by the market, because that is also the seed that we distribute. So, nagiging rumble kung minsan yung kanilang variety. Then they get a lower price. Then they also have other problems post-harvest. That's why we are trying to improve the system, Mr. Chair. That's why we are going into clustering. Because if the farmers that are clustered will plant a variety that they have linked with the market, that they can sell it at a better price, they will not be prone to those traders or buyers that will tend to downgrade their produce. Then if you organize them, Mr. Chair, like the IAs, and later on we can federate them into cooperatives, we can also provide them with the support from RCEP for mechanization. So they can be provided with post-harvest facilities that can again help them cut the costs and also sell. Because, Mr. Chair, if the farmers will sell rice instead of palay, the price of rice, as you have said, Mr. Chair, does not go down so much. But if the farmers are selling in palay, it's very variable. But if the farmers that are clustered into cooperatives or into associations are processing the rice and selling it as rice rather than palay, they will get the better price and the better income from the rice production, Mr. Chair. That's why it's very important, Mr. Chair, that we have to work hard to really organize our farmers. This is what happened in other countries, Mr. Chair. We are not doing it here, but in other countries, they have organized their farmers so that they take advantage. They have a bigger role in the value chain.
Actually, let me correct you, Yusek Sebastian, because in Isabela, we've already created cooperatives. That is supposed to be the model that is being used all over the country, because there are positions in numbers. And because if it is small farmers that are selling, they're prone to traders that are scrupulous. But what we did in Isabela is supposed to be replicated. And this is precisely the question of Bishop Abante.
Yes, Mr. Chair, that is exactly what we should do, scale. Our problem in the Philippines, Mr. Chair, is that we have good models, but we never scale them. We have examples in Isabela, we have examples in Pidig, but those are just examples, good examples. We have to do it in a larger scale, Mr. Chair. That is what we want to do now in the rice industry development.
Right. One last question I will allow.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I hope this is not all talk. No? Alam mo, matagal na ako rito, Mr. Chair, sa Congreso. Since 2004. Kakaroon tayo ng budget hearing, po tayo salita dito. But what's the action? Congress holds the pulse of your budget. We just do not want words. We want action. So do you want? Ito ang last question ko, Mr. Chair. ang Departamento ng Agrikultura ay merong tinatawag na Agricultural Marketing Assistance Services. AMAS. Tama ho ba ako? Alright. Na merong mandato, Mr. Chair, na tiyakin ang market matching system. Kung saan dapat ay ginagabayan ang mga magsasaka kung anong produkto ang dapat itanim at kailan upang maiwasan ang oversupply. At maging maganda ang presyo para sa mga magsasaka. Ano po ang nangyari? Bakit napilitang itapon ng mga magsasaka sa Bukidnon at Nueva Ecija ang kanilang mga ani na kamatis? Dahil sobrang dami ng produksyon at ng mababa ang presyo. Noong September 9, gayon din ang nangyari sa mga nagtatanim ng bawang sa Batanes. In fact, nakausap ko ang gobernador ng Batanes. Naghahanap sila ng buyer ng bawang sa Batanes. Samantalang nag-i-import tayo ng bawang, Mr. Chair, at repolyo sa Benguet. Nakausap ko din ang late governor na kaibigan natin dito ng Nueva Vizcaya. Naghahanap din ng buyer ng kamatis. Mr. Chair, napipilitang itapon ang mga produkto dahil saan? Sa oversupply sa kanilang lugar. Samantalang ang taas ng presyo nito dahil kulang ang supply sa ibang lugar. Ngayon, ang tanong niya ito, nasaan ang DA at AMAS sa mga lugar na ito? Bakit tila walang silbi ang AMAS?
Thank you,
Mr.
Bishop.
Chair.
Okay,
I
that's the last
would
question.
like to tell them, I might be a city boy, Mr. Chair, because I am the congressman of the 6th District of Manila, where the president resides.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
But I have a small farm, so I know what I'm talking about.
Thank you, Bishop.
Thank you.
Habang po tayo namumroblema, habang ang ating mga kababayan ay namumroblema sa pagtaas ng presyo ng bigas, marami rin pong mga probinsya ang namumroblema kung paano makakabili ng bigas.